What's up, movie lovers? Welcome back to the Watch List, the channel that brings you every kind of movie, every kind of story, every kind of recap, all in one place. If you love movie recommendations, deep dives, and recaps that actually hit, you are exactly where you need to be. Today, we're diving into something messy, dramatic, and dangerously addictive. 5 movies about cheating, betrayal, and the chaos that follows when love goes wrong. We've got murder, obsession, power plays, and affairs that spiral completely out of control. From true crime romance to erotic thrillers that had everyone talking, this list has it all. So if you're new here, smash that subscribe button, hit like, share this with a friend who loves drama as much as you do, and let's get straight into it. Because
let's kick things off with Rising High, a German crime drama that proves greed, betrayal, and ambition can destroy everything just as fast as a love affair. Released in 2020, this film follows Victor, a young man who arrives in Berlin with nothing. No money, no connections, just charm and a hunger to succeed. He teams up with his shady partner Jerry, and together they figure out how to game the real estate market, scamming buyers, forging documents, and faking their way into serious wealth. Victor marries Nicole, a fellow scammer, and for a while, life looks perfect. The mansion, the parties, the cocaine-fueled nights, the illusion of having it all. But here's the thing about everything built on lies. It always collapses. As the money grows, so does the betrayal, the paranoia, and the cracks in every relationship Victor has built. Loyalty turns into manipulation, partnerships turn toxic, and the same people who helped him rise are the ones who could bring him down. It's a story about how deception, whether it's financial or emotional, always demands a price. Critics called it a German answer to The Wolf of Wall Street, and while it didn't reinvent the wheel, it's a wild, fast-paced ride through fraud, betrayal, and consequences. On IMDb, Rising High sits around a 6 out of 10.
Next up, Deepwater, and this one is dark, twisted, and dripping with tension. Starring Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas, this erotic thriller is based on the novel by Patricia Highsmith, the same mind behind the talented Mr. Ripley. The story follows Vic and Melinda Van Allen, a wealthy couple living in Louisiana with a marriage held together by one very unusual arrangement. Vic allows Melinda to take lovers openly, even inside their own home, just to avoid a messy divorce. Sounds calm on the surface, right? Wrong, because as Melinda's affairs continue, one by one her lovers start disappearing. Vic seems eerily unbothered, almost too calm, and that calmness becomes the most suspicious thing in the entire film. Is he capable of murder? Is he simply a husband pushed past his breaking point? Or is something even more twisted going on behind those quiet, controlled eyes? The film blends infidelity, jealousy, and psychological tension into a slow-burning mystery that keeps you guessing who's really in control. Critics were split. Some called it a stylish throwback to 90s erotic thrillers. Others felt it lacked the heat it promised. Coming in at number 3, Babygirl, one of 2024's most talked about erotic thrillers, starring Nicole Kidman in a role that had everyone buzzing. Kidman plays Romy, a powerful, successful CEO who appears to have it all: the career, the family, the perfect marriage to her husband Jacob, played by Antonio Banderas. But underneath that polished exterior is a woman who feels unseen, unsatisfied, and disconnected from her own desires. Enter Samuel, a much younger intern at her company, who notices something in Romy that nobody else seems to see. What starts as tension quickly becomes a dangerous, consuming affair, one that puts her career, her reputation, and her entire family on the line. This isn't your typical office romance. It's raw, uncomfortable, and forces Romy to confront years of repression and control. The film dives deep into power dynamics, vulnerability, and what happens when desire collides with discipline. Nicole Kidman's performance earned massive praise, even winning her the Volpe Cup for Best Actress at the Venice Film Festival. Critics gave it strong reviews, but audiences were divided. Some called it bold and brave, others found it messy and uneven. On IMDb, Babygirl sits at a 5.8 out of 10, proving once again that stories about infidelity rarely get a unanimous verdict. At number 2, we have Fair Play, a psychological thriller that takes infidelity and twists it into something far more dangerous: ambition turning into betrayal. The story follows Emily and Luke, 2 young analysts working at a high-pressure hedge fund, secretly engaged and very much in love. Their relationship is built on trust, equality, and shared dreams of success. But everything changes when a coveted promotion opens up, and instead of Luke getting it, Emily does. What should be a moment of celebration instead becomes the spark that destroys everything between them. Luke's pride is wounded, his confidence shattered, and slowly, the man who once supported Emily starts resenting her success. Jealousy creeps in, manipulation follows, and the relationship that once felt unbreakable spirals into something cold, toxic, and almost unrecognizable. This isn't cheating in the traditional sense, it's emotional betrayal, the kind that happens when ego refuses to celebrate someone else's win.
The film exposes how fragile relationships can be when power dynamics shift and how quickly love can turn into competition.
How do you expect people to take...
And finally, our number one pick, Love and Death, the true crime drama that turned a small-town affair into one of the most shocking stories ever told. Starring Elizabeth Olsen, this miniseries is based on the real story of Candy Montgomery, a seemingly ordinary housewife living a quiet, church-going life in 1980s Texas. Candy meets Alan, a friend from her church volleyball league, and what starts as innocent flirtation slowly transforms into a calculated, secretive affair. The two carefully plan their meetings, hide their tracks, and convince themselves they're in control. But nothing about this story stays controlled for long. When their affair eventually unravels, it sets off a chain of events that ends in a brutal, shocking act of violence, one that stunned the entire country and turned Candy Montgomery into a household name. What makes this story so gripping isn't just the affair itself, but the unraveling that follows, the suspicion, the guilt, the courtroom drama, and the haunting question of how far someone will go once they feel cornered. Elizabeth Olsen delivers a commanding, layered performance that earned major awards buzz, and the show became one of the most watched true crime adaptations of its time. On IMDb, Love and Death holds an impressive 7.5 out of 10, making it the highest rated story on our entire list. It's proof that real life can be more shocking than fiction, and that the line between desire and danger is thinner than we think. And that wraps up today's list. From corporate fraud to deadly affairs, these are you adding to your watch list? Drop it in the comments.